Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Welcome everybody to the Don't Be Blasé podcast. We're coming to you live from the House of Pain, otherwise known as Snap Fitness in the Adelaide CBD. Let me introduce you to my podcasting host, Steve Burrows.
Yep, hello, how you doing?
And I'm Spe Steve. We just quickly like to shout out our sponsor. Thanks to the boys at Larry and Lad. Go see the boys in Region Arcade, get yourself a sweet coffee, and listen to some pretty awesome tunes. But for now, on to the show. This is going to be a show about just two lads talking shit. We've been friends for 15 years now. We both love the same things like basketball,
hip-hop,
wrestling,
footy,
everything. But within those sections, we don't agree on anything. So that's going to be the basis of this show. I mean, we have one thing in common. We both think that The Great White Hype and Life are the most underrated movies of all time.
We are the real life Ray and Claude, besides the old. I know old, but maybe the black thing. I don't know. We're pretty much Ray and Claude.
We are Ray and Claude. Obviously, I'd be Eddie Murphy because I'm funnier and much better looking. But even on to the movies like that. The one that we've always loved for a long time, which is a bit of history repeating itself, is Great White Hype. So this is one of the things we can agree on, is that movie is underrated genius, and it's come to real life. It's a bit of a life imitating art.
That's right, yeah. It's actually come in... It's what it's done is actually predicted the future. You know, The Simpsons predicts the future. Trump's going to be the president. Well, this has predicted the future. We got a black champion who's undefeated, cannot be beat, Floyd Mayweather. And so no one's buying the fight. No one's actually interested in seeing him fight anymore. So what they do, they create a white contender, a.k.a. Conor McGregor.
So in the film, the champion is Damon Wayans. He's got no one to fight. His manager is Samuel L. Jackson and John Lovitz. I forgot John Lovitz was there.
Yeah, he's the PR guy.
I do love John Lovitz.
He's the PR.
They try to find him a contender. So they go back to his amateur days where he lost to one guy who was white and threw a dangerous overhand right.
Overhand right,
that's right. It's going to knock him out. It's his Achilles heel. So they create this fight and they hype him up. They make him Irish Terry Conklin, even though he's not Irish.
It's boxing.
It's boxing because if you're white, you have to be Irish.
Funnily enough, Conor McGregor.
But Conor McGregor is actually Irish, and he's the one with the big left hand. It's going to rock Mayweather's world. But what's the date today? We got the 11th of August as we're recording this. Little spoiler alert for everybody. Conor's not going to win. I know they've announced that they're changing the weight of the gloves, and that's supposed to be a thing. And even Mayweather's come out saying, "Oh, I'm old now. I'm washed. I don't know if I'm about to beat this whippersnapper." Mate, you're going to beat him. Like, you're just trying to sell tickets.
He's selling. Did you see the article the other day about Conor McGregor's sparring partner?
Yes. Paul
Marinelli.
The Italian last name. Yeah.
I don't even know if I want to believe what's actually happened there. They're saying they've fallen out, and Conor's posting photos. I honestly believe this is part of the WWE storyline. This is selling tickets. This
is closest thing to WWE that boxing's done for a very long time, which is it's not a bad thing. We love wrestling, so that's another thing we'll agree on. We both love wrestling, but for today we have a very, very important debate to go through. Today's topic is it okay to be a fan of a individual player, or do you have to support the team? Because this is a bone I've had to pick with Steve for a very long time, and this particularly with the NBA, because I'm a traditionalist. I'm loyal. I've got all those strong characteristics that you want in a person. Unlike you, Steve. And I'll back my team through the good times and the bad. But you don't go the same way, and there's one person that's led to this, and that name is Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah, well, that's true. I'll take you back. And by the way, Spe, I'd like to say, you might be a die-hard Lakers fan, but I can't help but notice you were rooting pretty hard for LeBron James throughout the season.
Well, no, not throughout the season, throughout the playoffs, because as we know, my Lakers haven't made the playoffs for a very long time, and I need to have a dog. I need to have a dog in the fight. So, and I have that old adage: if you put money on something, especially if you drop a couple of pineapples, you will support that thing like you've been going for it your whole life. So there's been, a couple of wagers involved, so that may be, boosting my love for LeBron. But, back to Carmelo.
Oh, sorry, back to Melo. Okay, I'll give you a quick history I'll try to
keep
it short. It was, I think we were in the States in 2003, and we actually saw the NCAA final where Melo was playing for Syracuse.
Yeah.
And a huge win. We were in New York at the time. It was a massive win, and I was on that guy. I didn't have anyone else to really follow at the time. I'm not a team supporter of the NBA. I'm actually a basketball fan. I'll follow many teams and many players. And I think it was the era of Kobe or something, and I was never backing that guy. So I got on Melo. He had a huge game in the final. I thought. He had NBA quality, and I got behind him.
So you jumped on the bandwagon early. I mean, I'll give you credit for that. You did come back from that holiday and did rave about this kid that was just going to be the greatest player of all time. I think you dropped several times. Well, not the greatest of all time, but he was going to take the mantle. This was the person you fell in love with harder than you fell in love with anyone since Jordan.
Well, that's right. But it's funny. It was a great draft that year. Actually.
It was a very good draft, and he didn't go first, did he? No. He
didn't go second either.
He didn't.
Actually.
No. He went third.
Yeah, it was a classic Jordan.
Least, there you go. At least you're consistent. You always go for the guy that gets picked third.
That's right. He was picked third and has to carry a team on his own without superstars. And that's why I backed.
Well, you say that, but he did have J.R. Smith on his team. And anyone that knows me knows I'm a huge fan of J.R. Smith. Not so much for the talent, sometimes for the off-the-court stuff, but I do love my J.R.
It totally undermines any argument you have. If you say I'm a J.R. fan, that's it.
I am losing credibility by the second here. But back to the whole Carmelo thing. So you were a fan of the Denver Nuggets when he was playing for them?
Well, I was definitely going for the team he played for.
Yeah.
So that's right. So he was unbelievable. Him and LeBron were neck and neck Rookie of the Year.
Yep.
LeBron came in probably with a little bit more fanfare.
Yeah. More talent. Yeah.
Melo scored more that season.
Yep.
He's a better scorer. It was a great season. They made the playoffs.
Yeah.
Cleveland didn't. It definitely had a good launch pad.
Well, that's right. I will give Carmelo credit. Like I've had my issues with him, but a lot of my issues that come from Carmelo Anthony stem from the fact that this is an off-topic debate Steve and I have. Steve is, as much as he loves Carmelo and he has his love for Jordan, he has an equal amount of hate for Kobe Bryant. Now, this is where it comes into my point, because I've been a lifelong Lakers fan. I'm a huge Lakers fan, and I loved Kobe because he played for the Lakers. That was the only thing. And so I felt the need to defend my man because he was the star of my team. And, I can see his shortcomings. I never defended his shortcomings. He was a ball hog. He was, sometimes he was disruptive as a teammate. But he played for my Lakers and he was our best chance of winning. So I had to back him. So that's the reason why. And so my issue with your love affair with Carmelo Anthony is your hatred of Kobe Bryant and your love of Carmelo Anthony, and they're both essentially the same guy.
Yeah.
They're both ball hogs. They both score a lot, but they're both ball hogs. They're not great team players, but individually they can be really, really good. So that's why I always had my issue with you, is because you can't just say that, I love Melo and I hate Kobe when they're the same guy.
Yeah, but I didn't actually hate Kobe for being a great scorer or a ball hog. I hated Kobe for... Well, I wouldn't say hate, but I didn't like Kobe.
I'm pretty sure you've dropped the H word in there a couple of times.
I probably said call him the C word. Look, he's a guy who actually was so talented, and the only thing that was equal to his talent was his ego.
Yes.
And I'm an old school guy, old school fan. Shaquille O'Neal was, to me, the most dominant center probably who I've ever seen play ball. And Kobe's in this team and he's bagging. There's after a couple seasons, and when they won a couple titles, and Kobe wants to take that mantle, and then he took it to the media, and it was this. It turned out to be this really, terrible PR thing for Lakers more than anything. He was just bagging Shaq, and then Shaq retaliated, made a rap song, and it was just he just tore down a dynasty who could have probably won 5 more titles than they did.
In fairness, I'll defend Kobe in this regard. It was his work ethic that really was the issue, because he was one of those guys. He was the first one in the gym. He had that Jordan thing, first in the gym, last one out, because he wanted to be Jordan. I won't deny the fact that he wanted to be Michael Jordan. He never was going to be Michael Jordan, but he wanted to be. So he had that hard work ethic. Now, this is, here to go back to the time, maybe 2003, 2004. Shaq was the most dominant player in the NBA. Shaq got, as what everyone likes to call, fat and happy.
Fat and happy with his bank checks and
just
rings.
everything. He had 3 for 3 finals MVPs. He had a regular season MVP in there. He stopped working out. If you I think that's the thing. When you've been supporting a team for a long period of time, you know everything about the team. So yes, he was dominant. Yes, he was amazing. Yes, he helped us win 3 titles in a row. But then after that, he's rocking up late to preseason camp, that sort of thing. He's rocking up out of shape, that sort of thing. And that wasn't going to fly with Kobe. Kobe really wanted to be the best of all time and wanted to win all the rings. If Kobe he wanted to win 6 in a row. And the problem is that team had the potential to do that.
Had they stayed together.
But the thing is, they stayed together for another 2 years after they won their 3 rings. They ended up losing in the finals to the Pistons. And that was, a lot of it was because of the chemistry, because one man wanted it really badly and one man was happy with where he was. The only thing that reignited Shaq was getting traded to Miami, and then that lit a fire under his ass, and then he won another title there, but because almost to spite Kobe.
Well, I think the reason why they lost against Detroit is because the balance wasn't there. It wasn't the same team that had won 3 times. They had Karl Malone on their team, and they had Gary Payton. And I think it was just a formula thing. They made the finals.
Yeah.
They were the best team in the West. And then they lost against the Detroit Pistons, who were like an all-round good team. But
see, this is going to bring my point back into play. See, a good team will always be the star players. That's the reason why I've always been a team guy. You got to back the team. Sometimes it's, they always say a star team will beat a team of stars, and that's what happened in that situation. But that's why I said you got to back your team. You got to be loyal to your team. You've got to put up with the bad times, because then you can really enjoy the good times.
But you see, so I'm a fan of the game. I wouldn't even say I'm a fan of just Carmelo Anthony. I was a fan of LeBron James before LeBron James went to Miami.
Okay.
I was huge when Melo got drafted. Me and my buddies would talk about it. So LeBron, he got his game televised. A high school player got his game televised by ESPN. Yeah. I think at that point it was unheard of. Maybe the first time. It was nationally televised. So I was on LeBron, and I was a shooter. And when he went and he took Cleveland all the way to the finals to get swept, he was my man. He was. I loved him and Melo and a few other guys.
So you're just saying you're only there for the good times? Is that what you're trying to say?
No. And that's the thing. He went to Miami, and that just ruined everything for me, because it was a cop out. It was
okay. So then explain this. So you're okay with, you're not allowed to be loyal to a team, but the players have to be loyal to teams. Is that what you're trying to say?
No. I don't even know what you're asking me. Say that again. Repeat that.
Okay, so repeat that. So you're saying that you didn't like that he left in. I know you always like to play the card that Jordan only ever played for the Bulls. He stayed in the Bulls the whole career.
Right.
Yeah. So you're trying to say to me that it's okay that LeBron, it's okay for you to change allegiances as a fan.
Yeah.
But it's not okay for a player to change teams.
It's all about circumstance.
Oh, okay, so
it's all about. So I'm not going to change that. So okay, for example, I'm not going to change teams based on because their talent got better. LeBron.
Well, no. Let me cut you off there, because essentially you are changing teams because the talent that you enjoy changes teams. So that you didn't support the Nuggets anymore.
It's funny because
you moved to the Knicks because the talent changed,
and the Knicks got worse. And so it wasn't like I was jumping on the Knicks bandwagon.
In fairness, the Knicks have sucked since I think '99. But anyway,
well, I think that first year they made the playoffs, and they had I think they bumped into Cleveland or Miami. I think it was.
Yeah, it was Miami.
And they got bounced. Look, let's face it, they weren't never going to beat a team of stars, as you like to put it.
Although that Knicks team did have J.R. Smith.
They did. Look, that was his, and then after that, it's been downward. It's actually literally been downward since that year. But look, he went to the Knicks. So definitely, I'm going to support the Knicks. I want them to win, because I want him to have that success. I think he deserves that success. I think, if you look at his draft class and his friends, they've all had this ultimate success, and he hasn't.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's more now.
He's the only player drafted in the top 5 of that year that hasn't won a championship.
Even Darko Milicic, I think he won with Detroit or something. Yeah. So and for Melo, he's just it's unfortunate that his career has gone the way it has. He's been injured at the wrong times. He was there when Linsanity went, he was injured. Linsanity was born, and then he come back, and then that kind of fell apart. And then people were like, because Melo can't. Linsanity was never good. Let's face it. All right, he had a huge game against the Lakers. You know,
Jeremy Lin had 7 really good games,
remarkable games,
and that made him. I actually won like Time Man of the Year. But yeah, it's just, that's the power. That's one reason why I understand why Melo moved, and that's the reason why the Knicks have always been my sort of second team. I always say I'm a diehard Lakers fan, and easy Knicks fan.
How can you have a second team? See,
like I said, I'm diehard Lakers, die easy Knicks.
Well, that's just ridiculous. I don't think you can have. You can't tell me that I'm not allowed to follow players, but then you have what, second and third? Because where's Cleveland? Are they like a die reasonably easy?
No, they're already dead. No, the third team is the up and coming 76ers. I'm a big fan of Philly at the moment. I do trust the process. No, but see, what I'm saying is, like, I'm with you. I'm a basketball fan, so I'll watch every team, and I have my players in different teams that I do enjoy watching. Like, I'm a huge Karl Anthony Towns fan, so I will try to watch any Timberwolves game I can. But I had my teams when I was younger. I mean, like, when your team doesn't make the playoffs, you have to support somebody else. Because I'm like you, we're massive sports fans. Yeah. You've got to watch it. You have to watch, and it's not much fun watching it as an impartial. So, and I'm just passionate. I can't do anything by half measure. When I'm in, I'm all in, and so that's why everyone will always see on my social media or whatever. When I'm on a player or on a team, I'm all in. So that's why when I was younger, the Lakers went through their down period post Magic. Oh, yeah. And that's when the Knicks sort of got hot, that 93, 94 team that with Ewing and Oakley and Starks, Anthony Mason, Charles Smith, Derek Harper. They were a great team, and they were always butting heads with your bloody Bulls. Yeah. And I hated, and we've been through this before in many conversations, I disliked Michael Jordan. Yes, I hate Michael Jordan. I hate him. Love the shoes. Hate the guy. Respect the game. Hate the guy. Wow. But yeah, so I was always like passionate about, not so much like that. The Knicks became my team almost by default, my second team by default, because I just hated Jordan so much, wanted to see him lose, and they butted heads in the Eastern Conference playoffs every year, and it was always go 6 games, 7 games, and it got so close so many times, and then Jordan would always pull it out, and it just made me hate him more, which made me, enjoy the Knicks even more. And then, like, you sort of keep an eye on your team, your second team, and stuff like that. So that's why, essentially, I say I have a second team. But like I said, if they're doing terribly, it doesn't bother me. But if they're doing well, I'll give them the support. But the Lakers losing really hurts me.
Yeah, I'll tell you a funny story. When the Chicago Bulls, obviously, I am a Jordan fan. I was a Jordan fan, and I was obviously a Bulls fan at the time. But I remember this guy when Jordan retired in 1998. I think it was coming up to the short season.
So is this when he retired or when he got suspended for gambling?
This is when he retired.
Okay, just check.
Yes, that's right. So it's the second retirement. And I remember...
how many retirements has he had?
He's had 3 retirements.
Okay,
he's had 3 retirements.
Yeah, okay.
Is that the same amount of rings as LeBron's got? I think it's the same. Yeah. Anyway, I remember this is when I realised I wasn't really a Bulls fan. It was, I think Elton Brand got drafted
Elton Brand.
In that year. And I remember emailing my mate, going, oh man, it doesn't matter, Jordan's retired. The Bulls are drafting number 1 pick and they got this Elton Brand guy and it's going to be huge. And just as I hit send, I was like, what the hell am I talking about, man? And I think, after that I was like, no, I'm not. I can understand now I'm not a Bulls fan.
I can tell
the Jordan guy.
Because the amount of people that like one of my favorite athletes of all time is Jalen Rose. I was a big fan of the Michigan and Fab Five, and he even admitted that that was post Jordan. He got traded to the Bulls, and he admitted it was probably one of the first times he'd ever cried because he knew he'd gone from the Pacers, which was a really good team, and made the finals and stuff, and he had to go to the Bulls, which I think the year before had only won like 17 games.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, I think that was the mass exodus of Jordan, Pippen, Rodman,
coach,
the coach was gone, Phil Jackson. Everyone left. And then, like I said, for them to get Elton Brand, and I was like, yeah, this is cool. And then I thought about it, I was like, do I really care?
No,
I don't.
Well, obviously you didn't. No. And so I'm tired over just to sort of win my argument here. See, I know that you are a diehard, I would say, you're a diehard Adelaide Crows fan.
Yeah.
So, but you love footy.
Sure.
And there's other footy players that you enjoy watching. Now, would you ever change allegiance from the Crows?
No, and I'm glad you brought this up. See, this is, I guess, where the point, not where my point is, but see, I was born in Adelaide.
Yeah.
I have an attachment to Adelaide through and through.
Yep.
I have no allegiance to an American city.
Yep.
I don't care about Chicago or Denver. I honestly don't.
Yep.
But I truly care about Adelaide. And so I was 11 years old when the Crows came along. It was just, I was actually, there we go, I was a Hawthorn fan.
Oh, there you go.
Up until the Crows came along.
Oh, that's ugly.
So, and mind you have to understand, I'm so competitive. I'm usually going to go for the best teams.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, and I'm that guy. And Hawthorn was when I was 7 years old, and I flickered. And back in those days, VFL you'd see it once. It was like on a Saturday afternoon or something. That's all the coverage we used to get. There's none of this every game or weekend stuff, and they'd show like one game at 4:30, and it was probably even like cut. And Hawthorn was a team, and Dermot Brereton was playing, and Johnny Platten had just gone over, and so basically for me, that was the Hawthorn was the team, and then as soon as Adelaide come along, I was like, see you later. See, that's who I go for now. Maybe it's because I'm a winner. I don't know. Who are the teams that you support?
Well, this is a bit of a contention because I am, like I said, I am fiercely loyal. I will stand by my teams, but unfortunately, all the teams I'm standing by currently, not doing very well.
No, maybe that says something about our personalities.
I'm an underdog. I like the underdog. We'll go a run through the teams. With the AFL, you've got the Crows. They're currently top of the ladder.
Yeah.
And I'm with Carlton, and they are second to bottom.
I never scrolled to the second page. I didn't know that. That's amazing.
You want to look at the top 8? Yeah, we haven't been there for a while. We're getting a lot of good draft picks. Then we go to... I know you're not a baseball fan. I'm a huge baseball fan. I go for the San Francisco Giants, who are, as we speak, currently bottom of the division.
That's incredible. Actually, funny enough, I actually supported a bottom team. They were the Cleveland Indians.
Yes.
They had this great run. They had this guy, Willie Mays Hayes, and...
I think you're talking about a major league movie there, mate.
That was a documentary. I thought it was a documentary.
No, sorry. You remember Charlie Sheen didn't actually play baseball. But good try, though. I go for the Lakers. We had the number 2 pick in the draft, which means we were terrible. But I do have my Pittsburgh Steelers, and they have been very, very good. They've made the AFC Championship game, which is the NFL equivalent of making the prelim final in the AFL. Admittedly, we got destroyed in that game, but we're always around the mark. So that team there is my one to hang my hat on.
Who's their guy? Who's the star?
Big Ben Roethlisberger, the quarterback.
Yeah.
You've got to back the big quarterback in NFL. But yes, no, that proves my point. And you brought up the Cleveland Indians, so I'm going to circle back around there because that's why, to me, you've got to stay by your team. Because this year's actually the World Series. Actually, no, it was last year. Last year's World Series was between the Cleveland Indians that weren't in a documentary. It was a film called Major League, you dick. Against the Chicago Cubs. Now, this is one of the beautiful things in sport. The Chicago Cubs have always been the lovable losers. They're the only sports team that's named after a baby animal, and they had not won since 1908. So there's generations of people that have never seen them win the World Series. Never.
Remember, I'm going back to film here again, but in Back to Future 2,
they did predict that the Cubs would win.
Did they predict the Cubs were going to win?
And that was
in 2015.
That was a joke. That was the funny thing. Yeah, they predicted in 2015. They ended up winning in 2016.
Wow.
Now the Cubs. That was the thing. Now, if you can find the video, it'd be on YouTube somewhere. There, the video outside Wrigley Field, which is in Chicago. The game was being played in Cleveland. Now Cleveland, ironically, was also the second longest drought. I think theirs was something around 60 years. Just remember, with this podcast, guys, facts don't matter. So I'm just going to throw numbers and stats out there like they're real, and they're probably wrong. So don't Google and don't message me saying, you got that one wrong.
I'll do it for you.
Yeah. Yeah, they had the second longest World Series drought. So the game was being played in Cleveland. Now, this is one of the great things in sport. It was a game where, like I said, the Cubs have always been that team that always lose. And always lose. As soon as you think they're going to win, they're going to lose. They're that team.
Was that the team that the guy, I don't know baseball.
With the crowd.
And again,
Steve Bartman, yep. And that they blamed that. It was they had the curse of the Billy Goat. That was the...
That's the one.
You've got to look up. If you look up, there's an ESPN 30 for 30 on it called Catching Hell about Steve Bartman and then Billy Goat. But back to the game. Game 7, they had like a 7-run lead going into the bottom of the 8th that that lead just disappeared. You know, and it was crazy game. It was game 7. It goes to the bottom of bottom of the 9th. They're up by 2 runs. You know, and this is the team that is going to win it for the first time in 108 years, and they're up by 2 or 3 runs, and then all of a sudden,
Wild thing?
No wild thing. No. The Indians were batting.
Okay,
and a guy named Rajay Davis hit a 3-run homer, ties the game up, bottom of the 9th. All the Cavs players were there. Your mate LeBron was there. They were cheering. Crowds going nuts. So this is a team that has never won in 108 years, and they've just choked away at a winning lead. And what makes it even better? Game's tied now. Going to go to extra innings. Oh, that's right. We're going to have a 40-minute rain delay. It was one of the great moments in professional sport. Luckily, after that rain, the tarp gets pulled off, the game gets restarted. Obviously, the Cubs bat first. They get a couple of runs. The Indians have a chance to win it. They don't, and they cut to the south side of Wrigley Field. And now, no game's being played there, but the streets are lined with fans. And when they flash up on the big screen at Wrigley Field, Cubs win. The roar from the crowd is one of those things that will give you goosebumps and, the hairs on your back and extend up. But that's real passion for real fans that have supported their team for forever. And they've never won, and they finally got to have that victory. One of the most famous fans they had, Bill Murray. There's a lot of photos of him, and you just see him just smile. There's this big smile on his face. But that's what you get when you support a team. That you back the team. And
I look forward to the Crows winning this. But I couldn't care less
about
if Denver Nuggets win or if the New York Knicks. I want Carmelo Anthony to win because I think he's good enough player to deserve that championship. But I couldn't care less what team he plays for when he wins. Unless he joins.
I'm very competitive and I need to win this. So I'll circle back around again. So this is 2 circles we've done. You're a big Liverpool fan.
Yes, big Liverpool fan. Probably the same day I was watching Hawthorn, Liverpool had probably won the FA Cup that year. And I was like, I'm on top of that, yes.
Now, you're a Liverpool fan.
Yes.
You weren't born there.
No, that's true, yes.
So even when Suarez left and
I was cut
out. Gerrard left, you didn't follow the talent there, so you stayed with your team.
Yes.
That was okay to do it in soccer, but you won't do it with basketball. Is that what you're saying?
Okay. Are we talking facts now? Because we know facts don't matter.
Facts don't matter, but I'm just trying to win an argument here.
That's true. And that's a hell of a good argument. because
I've got him against the ropes. Here comes the overhand right.
Oh, wow. What do I say, man? Liverpool all right, I guess.
And you're stirred by them?
Yeah, no, okay.
You even know the best player left?
Yeah.
And you're admitting that you were maybe wrong?
There's no such thing as me being wrong, brother. I'm just saying that's amazing that you brought that up. That's a good point. I think 15 years we've known each other, guys. 15 years.
15 years.
And it was June.
He finally conceded that I won an argument with a good point. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to end that debate right there because I don't often get these moments, as you can tell by the teams I support. I don't get a lot of wins. Okay, so I'm going to cash out, take my chips. I'm off. Wildness. We're going to change the topic. We're going to completely switch it around. We're going to go to one of the greatest arguments that anyone can ever have in sort of culture, and anyone that's a big fan of the music will understand this one. We're going to go through. Steve, give me your top 5 rappers, top 5 dead or alive.
Any explanation? Just reel them off?
No, reel them off. Give us a real reason why. Let the folks at home that are listening in, on the wireless, let them know who you love and why.
Yeah. All right. Well, look. To keep it short, I'm a bit of an old school, and when I mean old school, I mean not 80s and 90s old school. I'm not talking that real funk hip hop. I'm talking 90s G funk, gangster rap. I'm going to go Biggie and Tupac. In no particular order, Biggie and Tupac. They really brought they were like the Jordan. They brought the game from good to great. So I'm going to put those 2 guys up there. So third, if you know me, you know I love Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Bone Thugs.
Yeah. We're talking a period of time between 1994 to probably 1995. No, probably through to the mid 2000s. They were solid. Nas,
good.
And on his first couple of albums alone, they were legendary. And to be honest, most of my iPod is either 70s and 80s rock, soft rock, hard rock, whatever.
Mighty white of you, Steve.
Love Toto. And a 90s hip hop. So Nas would definitely be in there. Illmatic was huge. And fifth, and look, it's so hard because there's so many people. I'd like to put Jay-Z in there. I'd like to put Meth, Wu as a whole. But I'd put in Eminem. I think over his career, dude, he's been solid. Other than that one album where, he does the accent stuff.
Oh, the zippity doo ba ba da ba da ba da.
The 3 a.m. whatever that was.
Yuck.
Other than that, he's huge. So look, and you could keep going up to top 20, but
we're not going to top 20.
We're not going to
top 5 dead or alive.
You told me. 5.
All right,
well,
that's a good 5. It's a good 5. We've got Biggie, Tupac, Bone Thugs. That really stands out like a sore thumb. Nas and Eminem. That's good 5, Steve. I'll give you that. My top 5 is got a couple of candidates in there the same. Like I said, we're the same era of hip hop. And Biggie and Tupac are my number 1 and 2 as well. Once again, no order. I was probably more of a Tupac than a Biggie guy.
Definitely.
But do love the stuff they used to do, just because they come from that era where songs told a story, songs had a meaning to them, and they just rhyme. They would rhyme without making it feel like they were trying to rhyme. It was like everything sort of came and went and worked, and like it wasn't
It seemed contrived. It seemed really real as far as I'm concerned.
He said it didn't seem like you didn't have to worry. Like I said, Biggie in one song rhymes like it's a weird thing, but he rhymes phenomenal with abdominal, and to me that was just like, wow, that's really clever. They just don't have it these days. Like since I think it's to me it felt like it started with Nelly, just kept rhyming the same word at the end of like if you just show the same word at the end of the sentence, of course the sentence is going to rhyme. But it's not. There's not a whole lot of art there or technique there. So
true. And but also I feel, and you might disagree with me here, but actually I don't like it when actually guys try to get too lyrical.
Yeah.
And the storytelling goes.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it's just all about the multis and the sounds. Is great. Funny quick story. Sorry to cut in. I got involved in the mid 2000s into a battle rap website.
Oh right.
Yeah.
You would have been the coolest.
It was awesome, man. Not to say I was any good at it, but we had a lot of fun.
Oh, you actually battle rapped yourself?
Yeah.
Well, this is something I didn't know about you, Steve, and I'm starting to question our friendship.
Look, and this isn't, and don't, I'm sure you're not thinking it, but this is not Eminem in 8 Mile,
I wasn't going to jump to any
you weren't thinking
conclusions.
that.
No.
Okay. So this was, actually, I was at work, and you log into the forum.
Yeah, right.
And you'd actually have competition and battle raps. And you see, rather than just being on the spot, spontaneous, you'd have up to X amount of time to deliver your verse.
Oh, so you had, you got to go home with a permission slip and write down, jot down a few answers.
I was on the train, jotting down a few. No, you had to half hour or something. Yeah, you had a short period of time, but you had to come up. And there was rules, how many actual lines you had to come up with, and then they get judged by your peers.
Well, I think we're all richer having known this story, Steve. That was possibly one of the shittest things I've ever heard. And I'm going to get back to my top 5 if you don't mind.
Please, yeah. So obviously I'm in your top 5.
Well, very blasey blas. Hence, this is the reason, I'll just throw a quick one out. This is the reason why the show is called Don't Be Blasé. Steve and I were at one stage professional wrestlers, and his wrestling name was Blasé, Blarzay, because you have to throw a Z in anything because it makes it cooler. Hence why the name of the show is Don't Be Blasé, because don't be like Steve. Don't join battle rap websites.
It's funny because
it's not cool.
When he said that, when he told me the name, I was like, what does that actually mean? Are you having a crack? He's like, no, it's just a good name. I'm thinking you're having a crack.
Flat out having a crack, I'll be honest with you. So back to my top 5. Number 3 is a guy that you probably don't know much about, Steve, because you're old and washed, but Chance the Rapper. I'm a big fan of Little Chano from 79th. He's a young rapper out of Chicago. Just does some really, really good stuff. He's the only guy to win a Grammy without actually being signed to a major label. He's released everything independently through mixtapes and that sort of stuff, but that's the power of sort of social media and the internet these days. You can be a big star without being on a major label. And just some of the stuff he's put out, like the Acid Rap mixtape, and then the recent one, Colouring Book, which was just amazing. It's the one that won the Grammy. Just the stuff that he's putting out. I know you haven't heard it yourself, Steve, but people that may be listening may have heard his stuff.
I think I saw his stuff on this forum back in the mid-2000s.
He was not your battle rap forum, Steve.
I beat him once. I remember I beat him.
You can just stick that list in that forum right where it doesn't matter. But coming into number 4 on my list, it's not going to be Eminem because he has failed to make the cut. And we're going to throw in there a bit of Kanye.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Now, I know you're not a huge Kanye fan.
I was a Kanye fan in his earlier albums, for sure, yeah.
So you didn't like the lyrical stuff, but you like the lyrical stuff from Kanye?
To be honest, no. When I mean lyrical, I'll go back to my previous. I'm talking about the real deep East Coast stuff that was coming out.
Your Mob Deep.
Yeah. I'm talking, and Mob Deep was good, but there's some guys, who I'm a huge Wu fan, but then I listen to a little bit of Chef and listen to a little bit of Ghostface, and sometimes I think they're saying words to say words, so they and then they can say, "Oh, I'm the illest rapper alive." To me, whereas when we're talking about Tupac and Biggie, it's just a different style.
Yeah, theirs seemed effortless. Everyone else seems like they're trying
really hard. That's
to
right.
drop. Yeah.
So when I mean Kanye is very lyrical, but not in the same vein as I was referring to before.
See, I always think by Kanye. Kanye is one of my favorite of all time. Since the first album, I remember picking up the first album, College Dropout. It was amazing. Second album, Late Registration, amazing. Like I said, they had the funny tracks. He had had the lyrics, had the beats, had everything. Actually, coincidentally, best concert I've ever been to was Kanye here. He played a small show. He'd only released the Theban Theatre, which is only a small venue here in Adelaide. But he'd only released the 2 albums at a time, so he was still sort of, that sort of unknown at the time. And it was just amazing. And then after that, that's when he started to sort of develop the ego and develop the Kanye douchebag persona, which most people really dislike. But to me, that's when, I sort of, I understood it. He had to change his style because he was no longer playing small theatres like Theban Theatre. He's now playing arena shows and stuff, and you've got to make stadium music where it's got to be beat, it's got to be lyrics that are easy to digest more so than you complicated verses.
And his life has changed, so his stories are going to change. I totally accept that.
Well, I'm quite happy where his life went. I mean, a lot of people don't like Kim Kardashian, but I don't think it's a bad choice. He could have chosen
Could do worse.
Could do worse. You could always do worse. And number 5, and this is, like I said, this is the reason why these lists are subjective. Number 5 is Redman. I'm going to go with Redman purely because, he's not the best rapper. He doesn't have the greatest tracks of all time, but he's just one of my favourites. Just every time you hear him on a track, you know it's his voice. You know him. He's just got that style. He's got that personality. It shines through. Same thing. It sounds effortless, and he's just an amazing rapper for me.
My favourite Christina Aguilera song. It's all Redman on it.
Dirty,
I mean, I don't really like Genie in a Bottle, but
Dirty was good.
Dirty was good.
And Red, his voice added so much to that. So that's the reason why he's my go-to there for number 5. So there's our 5. Steve's gone with Biggie, Tupac, Bone Thugs. Ugh. Still hurts me every time I say it. Nas and Eminem. My list rounds out with Biggie, Tupac, Chance, Kanye, and Redman. So that's going to be our show for the first one, guys. I hope you all enjoyed that. Give it a listen. Give it a like. Subscribe to the channel if you can. Try to get more. We don't know how many of these we're going to bump out, but, they're always going to be boring. No, they're going to be entertaining. We're going to try our best there, just talk shit, argue, and give you the quick takes, the hot takes, and just give you our opinion on life and the things that we love.
All right, peace.
Peace.
Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to AuscastNetwork.com for details.